Hello, and thank you for watching this tutorial by the Computer Commons. Today we're going to be going over strings in JavaScript. What are strings? A string is a data type that contains a sequence of characters. How is this different than variables? Variables are useful because we can store values in them. And within the program, we can manipulate those values how we need. Strings aren't ideal for storing values. In JavaScript, strings are mostly used if you want to write out characters, words, sentences directly to the web page. So let's see how they're created. So instead of using var for variable, we're going to say let name1, the name of the string, equals forward. This is the string, and notice how it's within quotations. All strings need to be within the quotations. We're then going to create another string called name2, and that's going to be set equal to F150. A useful application of strings is concatenation. That's a fancy way of saying we're putting two different strings together. We're going to create a string called name3, and that's going to equal name1 plus a space plus name2, and that would print out forward F150. Now notice how I put a space in between the two strings here. That's actually what accounts for this space between forward and F150. If that wasn't there, it would all be one word and it wouldn't look right. So keep that in mind when you're concatenating strings. You're probably going to have to account for spaces in between them. One useful function of strings is char at. So let's look what I did here. Let letter equal name3 dot char at 0. What is this doing? We're looking at the string name3, which is forward F150, and we're looking at the character at index 0. Remember, in programming, when we're talking about sequences, they always start at 0, not 1. So at index 0, when looking at our string, that's going to be F. It's the first letter. And that's what we would print out. If this was 1, it would be the next one over. It would be the O. This is a useful function if you're trying to single out a certain character in a string, if you need to manipulate it in any way. Another useful function of strings is slice, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It slices up a string based on certain parameters that you set. So we create a string here called section, and that's equal to name3 dot slice 0, 4. This first number, 0, is your starting point where you're going to start slicing the string. So that would be at the F. The 4 is the ending point where you're going to stop the slicing. But it's important to understand that this is not inclusive. The value at index 4 is not included in the slice. That's just the ending point. So to give you an example, we start at 0, we end at 4. So that would, really just contain this part of the string forward. F is at index 0 and D is at index 3. The 4 is actually that space in between forward and F150. That space isn't included. So if you want to get the whole word forward, you have to go one index above the last letter of forward. That makes sense. If you want, let's say we did it 0 to 3. Well, remember, it doesn't include this last value here, so it will just print out FOR, but it wouldn't print out D. It would just be 4. So that's a very important idea to keep in mind when dealing with this function. There are a lot of different functions of strings that you should take a look at w3schools.com. They're very, very helpful and important to understand when dealing with strings. We hope you find this video useful. This is what it looks like when we print out everything to the screen. It's pretty plain, but everything is correct. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and please take our survey at the end of this video. Thank you.